Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dami. If you're seeing my face for the very first time, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. I appreciate you guys. If you're new here, so what do we do on this channel? I talk about lifestyle in Australia, our day-to-day life living here, and how different means or ways in which you can migrate to Australia. If this is something that interests you, please ensure you do subscribe. We have very helpful content, especially if you are a newbie who have just relocated to Australia. What prompted me to start this channel is because when I came in newly, I needed help with a lot of things, and it was not like publicly available like you'd find in the UK or in the US, where you have like loads of Nigerians or African, if I can say that. But yeah, that's what prompted me to start this channel, and it's been an interesting journey. To think I started in January and we're here at this point. I'm so grateful and I'm excited. Anyway, enough of this stuff. So today's video is I'm going to be talking about Western Australia. So if you're familiar with Australia, to an extent, you'll know that the financial year in Australia starts from July to June. So the 2021-2022 financial year is coming to an end in a few weeks, because yeah, in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks should come to an end. We're in June at the moment, so this financial year is coming to an end, and the beginning of this new financial year marks the beginning of a new era for different states and for different reasons. But with Western Australia, they've brought a migration plan for the new financial year, which is the FY 2022 to FY 22-23. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. If migrating to Australia is on your mind, please make sure you just sit down, relax, watch this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you have any question, put it in the comment section. I will try and answer as much as I know, and if there's anything, I can always refer you to the website, and as much as possible as well, I would include in the description box like links to the site and where you can find some of these answers by yourself. Because trust me, for if you plan to migrate, or migration is something that is on your mind, personal research is very important, and it will help you a great deal. Like, you cannot just, it's not something to sit down and wait for someone to do the work for you. You have to also do the work of research. Like, you have to become a researcher. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into this video. Get into it. So Western Australia have brought out their migration policy, or laws as you may call it, for the next financial year. And one of the main changes, which is very interesting and exciting for me, is the fact that they now allow offshore applicants to apply for either the 190 or the 491 visa in Western Australia. That's such a good news. Hopefully a lot of people can key into this opportunity and yeah, find themselves in Australia. So that's number one. But then again, saying offshore applicants is they're still going to be using a ranking system. So by a ranking system, I mean the first set of priority would be given to those who currently live in Western Australia, and the second would the second priority is for those who live in other states within Australia, and then lastly would be for those who live outside Australia. So all of this is still if you meet the requirements. So there are certain requirements you have to meet for the states and also for the home affairs, like when you're submitting your expression of interest. The major change is the expanded occupation list. So now Western Australia has about 331 occupation list on this new expanded expanded list first. So yeah, with this, it gives a lot of people opportunity to try. So for instance, maybe your occupation was not there before and it's there now, so this is something you want to check and confirm which of the visa. So they have the list. I'll put the link in the description box below. They have a list. Please check which of the visa categories you can apply for in Western Australia. Something else to also consider is the fact that in as much as this opportunity, this updates have been made, so I've mentioned two things, which is the opportunities for offshore applicants to come into Australia next financial year, and also there is also the expanded occupation list, And note that for the offshore applicants, will sit at the bottom of the list of rankings. So I've said that. But with that said, there are other criterias and things you need to do before you can put in your expression of interest. There are certain requirements you have to have, which I'll be going through one after the other now. So for you to be eligible to apply for this visa, there are certain criteria you must meet for the Home Affairs. Like these are the general requirements for the 190 and 419 visa. 491 visa, I hope that's what I said. No, 419. Yeah, 491 visa. So those requirements, they are the general requirement, but at the same time Western Australia also have their own requirements, which I'm going to go through now. And I think these requirements are the very key. So it's still a points-based system. The minimum points for you to be invited is 65 points, so it's not so crazy. But then again, there's a occupation ceiling for different occupations. Like there are also other factors. The fact that you have 65 points does not mean that they would call you, so it's still going to be competitive. I think that's the right word to use, because there are lots of other people within your occupation that may have higher points. So with that said, don't just aim for 65 and say, oh, I have 65, I'm good to go. If you can get higher points, the better chances for you. But anyways, let's go into the details of what Western Australia is expecting from you before you can be invited, and then before you can then proceed to apply for the visa. For you to be eligible for this visa, you must have submitted an expression of interest via the Home Affairs website. I'll also include a link on how to do that in the description box below. But for this expression of interest, it's just like a questionnaire. I think I've gone through it myself before. It's like a questionnaire where you just have to answer certain questions. But one thing I would say is, when you're answering those questions, answer it in all truthfulness, because they are going to give you a very short amount of time to provide evidence of all those things you are claiming. So yeah, just be sure you're answering the questions correctly, because if you're being nominated and invited to submit the corresponding supporting documentation and you cannot provide it, you stand the chance to lose the opportunity, and who knows if they will call you again. So when you're doing the expression of interest, ensure you're answering the right questions and you have the supporting document for everything you're saying yes to or claiming points for. To consider is that have your skills assessment from your assessing body. Also, I pray I'm able to remember, but if I don't remember, please ask me. I will include a link to where you can, for different, I know because a lot of people have asked me this skills assessment question, so I will include a link below to the different occupation list and the assessing body for your various occupations. So check for your occupation on that list and check what the assessing body is. The only one I know from the top of my head is accounting or auditor or anything in that line, and I know the assessing body is CPA Australia or CA Australia. Like any of those two bodies is, yeah, those are the two bodies because I've done it, so I know. So that's the only one I know at the top of my head, but I'll include a link below for you to check for your occupation and know who the assessing body is for that particular occupation. So you need your skills assessment done before you submit your expression of interest. Another one is the age. You must be below 45 years old. There's a clause, a bit of a clause to that. You know, if you are invited before you turn 45, like there's something funny around that. But just know it at the top of your head that you must be below 45 years old. And like feel that's fair enough compared to other countries. 45 is good, like not bad. Though this age will affect your points, but then again, you still have other places for you to make up for those points. So you must be below 45 years old at the point of submission of the expression of interest. The next is you must score at least 65 points. I've mentioned this before. Oh goodness, I think this is the third one or fourth link. I would also include a points calculator link in the description box. Please use that calculator all the time to just check where you stand and to know your score. I'll put that link in the description box. You must have at least 65, and as I mentioned earlier as well, 65 is not like, don't just say 65 and I'm good. People do different things to improve their points, such as taking NATI. Like, there are different things you can do, maybe getting a better score in your IELTS or PTE, whichever one you choose to do. Just ensure you try to get the highest points possible, so it gives, like, you stand a better chance to be invited or nominated, as the case may be. And your English language, of course, you need your IELTS or PTE as well. Your English requirements is also very important, and then meet the skills requirements for that particular occupation. And I think lastly is the health requirements for the occupation. So everything I've listed just now is for the 190 visa, right? So that's the 190 visa. So Western Australia is expecting you that you meet this requirement for the Home Affairs before you now come to their own requirements. So let's go through what Western Australia is expecting from you before they can nominate. So for Western Australia, what they are looking at, I'm just going to be looking down my screen to be giving the right information. So what Western Australia is looking for is, so they have two schedule 1 requirement and schedule 2. I'll put a link so you check which of this which of the schedule your occupation falls into. So what they are looking at is have an occupation on the Western Australian skilled migration occupation list schedule 1. So of course you must have checked that. That's the first thing you check if you're thinking of going to Western Australia. And then meet the Department of Home Affairs requirements, which is what we just went through. That is the age, the health requirements, the criminal, like we've gone through all of that list. So you've met those requirements, the general Home Affairs requirements. You must have met that. You must live in Australia, so which has changed. You must live in Australia, which is fine if you're claiming points for that, or if you live overseas. So in 2022 2023, if you live overseas, you're also allowed to submit your application to Western Australia, and you must meet the English language requirements. So those are the main things Western Australia is looking for. But then again, the most interesting of this that I've not mentioned, I'm just keeping it for the last, is the fact that it is required for you to have a contract of employment with a Western Australian company for at least 12 months. So this now gives a lot of work to everyone to start applying for jobs in Western Australia. The requirement and what I've said here, you must have a contract of employment in your nominated or closely related occupation for full-time employment in Western Australia for at least 12 months from the date of your application for state nomination. So with this, you would start looking for a job before you start the process. So I'm believing, like, with this type of employer, you don't need a 482 or 186 visa if you're going to be applying directly for the 191 visa. So that's the only interesting, like, I don't know how that is going to work, because I came into the 482 visa, I got the job and the employer sponsored me. But with this one, where you need to provide a contract of employment, I don't know how that would work. But then again, this is where your personal research comes in. And yeah, and with that, I hope this has been helpful. I hope we can start taking the baby steps to where we gradually want to get to. So check the occupation list, do your skills assessment if your occupation is on that list, write your IELTS or PTE, and then put in your expression of interest. Just start taking the baby steps, because the year is about to end, and before you know it, they will open this their migration window for the next year, and everyone will start trooping in with the application. So make sure you're ready, and you make your applications like one of the first steps they look into once they're ready to start accepting applications for next year. So I hope this video helps you, and if you have any questions, as always, drop it in the comment section. I'll try as much as possible to be available during the live when I put this video up to respond immediately, because sometimes it becomes a lot and it's overwhelming. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you do like, give the thumbs up, and share this video to your family and friends. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.